Welcome to the Explainer. All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about how AI is shaking up one of the toughest parts of any business, figuring out why things actually break. I mean, the promise is huge, right? But, and it's a big but, there are some serious catches. And this quote, this is the one thing you absolutely have to keep in mind. See, when you're working with AI, it can spin up these answers that sound so polished, so confident. But trust me, keeping this little warning in your back pocket is going to be the key to making this whole thing work. So you know how root cause analysis, RCA, usually works, right? It's a slog. You get a bunch of people in a room, they stare at a blank whiteboard, and right away, you're up against egos, biases, people forgetting key details. It's exhausting. But AI, it promises to completely flip the script. Instead of that blank page, you get a solid draft in seconds. You get to skip the painful part and go straight to the real work, the analysis. Okay, so first let's talk about the good stuff, the promise. How can AI really be that powerful thought partner we're all hoping for? And, how does it help us get past all those, very human problems we run into? What's fascinating isn't just what AI has, but what it doesn't have. Think about a typical team meeting. Things can get sidetracked by office politics, right? Who's got the loudest voice? Who's protecting their turf? AI has none of that. It doesn't have an ego. It doesn't get tired. It couldn't care less about who gets the blame. It just looks at the data, which makes it this perfectly neutral place to start digging. Let's look at a real-world example to see what I mean. The cold coffee mystery. So there was this cafe chain, and they were just getting slammed with complaints about their coffee being cold. The team did all the obvious stuff, checked the machines, the beans, retrained the staff, and nothing. Zip. Then they let an AI loose on all their customer feedback logs, and it spotted something no human had noticed. The word cold kept showing up right next to the words new cups. Turns out the problem wasn't the coffee at all, it was the cup. Get this, the new eco-friendly cups were actually too good. They were so well insulated that the outside of the cup stayed cool, which made people think the coffee inside was cold. It was a perception problem. And the fix? So simple it's almost funny. They just printed a little message on the cup explaining why it felt cool. And poof, the complaints just stopped. This is exactly what AI is great at, finding that one crucial signal buried in all the noise that our human brains just skim right over. But, and here's the turn. All that incredible speed, it comes with a massive risk. This brings us to the dark side, the perils of trusting these tools too much. Because if you're not careful, an AI can send you sprinting down the completely wrong path, faster than you ever could on your own. Okay, first up, the big one, AI hallucination. It's a wild concept. This is where the AI, in its quest to give you an answer, just makes stuff up. It will generate these beautifully written, super detailed, technical-sounding explanations that are completely and utterly fabricated. They sound real, but they have zero connection to your reality. So you might ask it, hey, why was that shipment delayed? And the AI might come back with something like, oh, well, that's because the neurosensors array failed to synchronize with the load balancer. I mean, that sounds super specific and smart, doesn't it? But what if your company doesn't even have neural sensors or load balancers? The AI was just guessing. It was filling in the blanks with fancy words it saw somewhere else on the internet. All right, next pitfall, generic answers. AI is a master of the vague, safe response. It loves to say things like, the issue was poor communication, or there was a misunderstanding between teams. I mean, sure, that might be true, but it's totally useless, right? Those aren't root causes, they're symptoms. A real root cause is something specific, something actionable, something you can actually point to and fix. And then there's maybe the sneakiest trap of them all, confirmation bias. You have to remember, AI is basically a super-powered pattern matcher. So if you feed it a prompt that even hints at what you already think the problem is, like if you're pretty sure it's the IT team's fault, the AI is going to pick up on that. It'll just serve your own theory right back to you, all dressed up as an objective analysis. It becomes your personal echo chamber. So this is the one question you have to keep asking yourself over and over every time you look at an AI's output. Did I just find the real cause, or did I just get the AI to confirm my own hunch? The difference between those two things is everything. Okay, so we've seen the promise, we've seen the peril. So what now? How do we actually do this? How do we guide this powerful machine so we get all the good stuff without stumbling into all those traps? Well, the secret sauce is all in the prompt. You can't just ask a lazy, vague question. You have to give the AI guardrails. A really solid prompt has 5 key building blocks.
First, give it a role, like you're a senior process analyst. Then, give it context, the background story. State the problem with facts, not feelings. Tell it what method to use, like the 5 whys. And last, tell it the exact format you want the answer in. When you do that, you stop getting a random guess and you start getting a real, structured analysis.
Part of a great prompt is also telling the AI which specific tool to use for the job. Because, let's face it, not all problems are the same, right? If you've got a straightforward, single-path issue, something like the 5 whys is perfect. But for a messy, complicated problem with tons of moving parts, you're going to want a fishbone diagram. And hey, if you're not even sure what the process is, you tell it to draft a SIPOC map. Picking the right tool for the problem shape is honestly half the battle.
But look, no matter how amazing the AI's first draft looks, you have to remember, that's all it is, a draft. Your job as the human expert in the room is to be the voice of reason. The AI brings the speed, but you have to bring the skepticism. Your role is to pump the brakes, to slow down and check its work. Does this logic actually hold up? Does this match what's really happening on the ground? And all of this really leads to a whole new way of looking at this technology. It's not about replacing people. It's about creating a new kind of partnership, a partnership between you and your new AI thought partner. I think the absolute best way to think about this is with a really simple rule. The AI is your assistant, not your analyst. Its job is to do the grunt work, to sift through mountains of data, to generate ideas, to connect dots. But it's not the analyst. You are the analyst. The final call, the judgment, that always has to come from a human. So the winning formula here is a true partnership. You use the AI for its incredible reach. Let it go out and hunt for those hidden patterns. Let it analyze insane amounts of data. Let it brainstorm 100 possibilities. And you, the human, you provide the reason. You bring the real-world context, you check the logic, and you make that final critical judgment call. That combination of reach and reason, that's where the magic happens. Because at the end of the day, an AI can spit out a million answers. But the thing that actually solves the problem, that's human curiosity. It's the courage to look at what the machine gave you and have the guts to ask, but why? The machine can draw the map, but you're the one who has to decide which path to take. And you do that by never, ever stopping asking that next question. Thanks for tuning in.